Classical rhetoricians go to the future.
Thank you for coming, everyone. I invited you here today because I was asked to come up with a definition for rhetoric, and I wanted us to come up with something together. Cicero said he won't be coming until later, but Gorgias should be here by now. I'm not sure why you called me here. I focus my work on philosophy rather than rhetoric. Even so, your opinion is valuable because you have a lot to say about rhetoric. We will start our discussion as soon as Gorgias gets here. Where is Gorgias? And why is he always late? He isn't very punctual for a man who believes in Kairos. There you are. We were waiting. Sorry, everybody. I was waiting for the right time and opportunity. Gorgias, what on earth are you wearing? Do you like it? I just got it. It's Gucci. How do you afford that? You know, doing the same thing you've been doing, except I prefer to give it some market value, if you know what I mean. Are you out cheating your students' fees again? That's despicable. For a teacher of virtue, you don't think you could embody some of your teachings? Okay, quiet down, guys. We need to stay on task. So now that everyone is here, I'd like to start up an open discussion about what the definition of rhetoric should be on the new 21st century dictionary. And hopefully we can agree on something. So, I thought maybe I'd start off by saying that rhetoric is used in three different types of speeches: deliberative, forensic, and epideutic. That's great, Aristotle, but we don't even know what rhetoric is yet. How about this? Rhetoric is the ability to see the available means of persuasion. Are you supposing that it does not matter whether or not the audience is persuaded, but just to be able to see the available means of persuasion? That's exactly what I'm saying. And how can we persuade the audience? Well, there are two types of arguments: non-artistic and artistic. Non-artistic proofs are from evidence and witnesses, but for us rhetoricians, we work mainly with the artistic proofs: ethos, pathos, and logos, but logos is the most important. I have to disagree with you there. I don't think logos would necessarily be more important out of the three. Of course you don't, Gorgias. All you care about is saying whatever you want to get what you want. You don't even care about the truth. You play on the emotions to deceive people. How could I possibly care about a truth when there is none? There are no truths. There are only opinions. So that is why we must use Kairos to determine the right time and occasion to make a case. Of course there are truths. We should be focusing on wisdom, not mere reputation like you. You argue for both sides and practice your skill, but you argue for no goodness. This is why philosophy is better than rhetoric. Philosophy is universal, but rhetoric is merely based on occasion. I have to disagree with you there. Indeed, philosophy is universal, and rhetoric is based on circumstances. But rhetoric is better than philosophy. Philosophers teach others discourse, but rhetoric is what moves people to action. What is the point of educating ourselves if we make no good use of it? Plato, I'm not sure why you are so fixated on the idea of true knowledge. Do you really believe that you can persuade without being subjective? Everything is based on opinion. How can we be objective if we remember and see the past and present differently, and we cannot predict the future? Instead, we must focus on understanding the person we are persuading. We must understand their souls. Interesting. So, to use the art of rhetoric, we must be able to understand the soul. I would hardly consider rhetoric an art. It is closer to cookery. It strives for the pleasant and ignores the best. And what do you suppose would make it an art? For rhetoric to be an art, the rhetorician must first speak with truth and speak with knowledge, not that just seems truthful or knowledgeable to the audience. Otherwise, it is evil. Only after then, the rhetorician can practice to become a good orator. Okay, and what makes a good orator? An orator who can use kairos effectively and be able to win an argument arguing for both sides, because there is never one side to the story. I disagree. A good orator must be able to speak with truth, and then he could try to produce convictions in the soul by identifying the nature of the soul, the way it operates, and the appropriate speech for persuasion. I disagree. The most important part of being a good orator is prudence. If the orator is prudent, they are wise and will only argue for the good. However, I disagree that they must always speak with truth. I think it is reasonable to use deceit as long as the intentions are good. That is what I call using equity. But I have to agree with Gorgias. I don't think logos is the most important means of persuasion. It is indeed important, but we must focus on pathos because we are human, and dealing with emotions is what makes us human. It doesn't look like we can agree on anything. So far, all we have is that rhetoric is the ability to see the available means of persuasion. Shall we use analogies to make our case? Let us not. I can't bear to hear another useless analogy about rhetoric. If we want to truly learn rhetoric, we must apply it to practical use. We must use it in our everyday lives. And how do you suppose we do that?
Later on at night.
Thanks for coming, guys. Sorry I could not make it to the first meeting. I made a friend from the 21st century. They wanted to invite us to this strange gathering called a nightclub. No need to apologize. Look, we are finally next. Why, hello, sir. ID, please. ID? What is this ID you are speaking about? Come on, kid. I don't have all day. You have to be at least 19 to get in. 19? Well, sir, I'm about 2,333 years old. Do you know who I am? I am Aristotle. Yeah, and I'm Beyonce. Look, if you don't have an ID, then I suggest you stop holding up the line. This is our chance, guys. We must use our rhetoric to the test. Hello, sir. I don't have an ID, but I do believe you should let us in, because we have traveled here from a far place, where IDs are not very popular. It is not reasonable to simply judge a person by the number of years they have lived on Earth. For experience and virtue is much more important in identifying one's character. Nope, get out. Don't make me call security. You can't just persuade using logos. We must use the passions. And we must embody the emotion we wish to convey. Hello, sir. I ask that you hear me out. I have given up on love. I have lost all hope. Many years I've spent searching for someone to share my days with, and all that I'm left with is a feeling of emptiness inside my chest. The woman of my dreams took the kids and left with another man. I am lost, and the only chance I have with finding a new mate is on the other side of that door. Please, please find it in your heart and let me in. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I feel for you. Sometimes you just can't trust them. So, you'll let me in? Sorry, buddy, still can't do that. I don't understand. It did not work. It's okay, Cicero. You were still able to use rhetoric, even though he was not persuaded, because you were able to see the available means of persuasion. That's right. You engaged with the arts, even though you did not win. And that is what matters. Move it, guys. Hey, buddy. How about you let us in for a little compensation? Come on in. Yes, finally. I am repulsed. How dare that sophist? He has no concern for using rhetoric for goodness and truth. You come in, Plato?